Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam Stuti series. We'll continue with Kunti Devi's prayers. Shloka number 36, chapter 8, canto number 1. Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti abhikshnashah.
Shrinvanti gayanti grunantyabhikshnasah.
Smaranti nandanti tavehitam janah.
Smaranti nandanti tavehitam janaha.
Ta eva pasyantyachirena tavakam.
Tayeva pasyantyachirena tavakam.
Bhava pravaho paramam padam bhujam.
Bhava pravaho paramam padambujam.
Word for meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shrinvanti,
Shrinvanti,
hear,
hear,
gayanti,
gayanti,
chant,
chant,
grinanti,
grinanti,
take,
take,
abhikshnashaha,
abhikshnashaha,
continuously,
continuously,
smaranti,
smaranti,
remember,
remember,
nandanti,
nandanti,
take pleasure,
take pleasure,
tava,
tava,
your,
your,
ihitam,
ihitam,
activities,
activities,
janaha,
janaha,
people in general,
people in general,
they,
they,
eva,
eva,
certainly,
certainly,
pashyanti,
pashyanti,
can see, achirena,
achirena,
very soon,
very soon,
tavakam,
tavakam,
your,
your,
bhava
pravaha,
the current of rebirth,
the current of rebirth,
uparamam,
uparamam,
cessation,
cessation,
pada ambujam,
pada ambujam,
lotus feet.
lotus feet.
Translation, O Krishna,
O Krishna,
those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities,
those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities,
or take pleasure in others doing so,
or take pleasure in others doing so,
certainly your lotus feet,
certainly see your lotus feet,
yeah, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death.
which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Yeah.
So let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport. So in the previous shloka that we did last week, which is shloka number 35, Kunti Maharani was saying that, my dear Lord, some say that you are appearing to rejuvenate the devotional services of hearing, remembering, worshipping, purely for those conditioned souls who are suffering, so that they may take advantage and move towards the path of liberation. So here in this particular purport, Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life, full of spontaneous love of God. So Prabhupada is saying that it is not your physical eyes that helps you see the Lord. It is divine vision that helps you see the Lord. And how do you get that divine vision? You have to come to that stage of spontaneous love of God. When Shri Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as a supreme personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, Shishupala were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. So Prabhupada is saying, these gentlemen, they all had so much, Whatever they could conquer in terms of assets, wealth, you name it, they had it. Why powerful people like these individuals could not see the Lord? Because they did not have, their eyes were not anointed with the love for the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. It reminds me of that pastime where, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving a class, and somebody had entered and dropped some money in the hundi, and they took darshan of the Lord, and they were getting ready to leave. That means they took their darshan. They were not interested in the Bhagavatam class. They were just ready to leave. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur called out to that gentleman and he said, "You can't see the Lord with your eyes. You have to sit down and hear. Hearing is the process." And that's why Kunti Devi is first emphasizing Shrinvanti, then Gayanti. So this necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. So it's not just about hearing about the Lord, but you have to hear from the lips of a pure devotee. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. I'm sure Prabhupada is thinking about all of the professional reciters of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. They actually don't experience the Lord, but they are very proficient in Sanskrit and recitation, in storytelling, etc. So we have to be really careful. Who do we hear these scriptures from? The reason is that the first item, Shravana, is very important. It is hearing from the right sources. It acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Recently, there was a itty bitty controversy with a very, very well-known Bhagavatam preacher. And she's a young lady, married. And she gives pravachan in Hindi. Somehow or the other, somebody got a video of her carrying a very expensive Gucci bag or something like that, bag. And there was a huge furor. And she had to explain, and she said, I'm not a sannyasi. I am a grihastha. So what's wrong if I own a Gucci bag? So similarly, we have to consider the person who's speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam. Are they renounced? Do they have that spirit of renunciation in them? Or are they into enjoying their senses? If they are into enjoying their senses, are they the right person that we should be hearing from? I think that is Prabhupada's concern here. Hence, Prabhupada is saying such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. That means first we have to perfect our hearing. Then Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. All of that, Prabhupada says, will happen automatically. So the most important thing for us to perfect is our hearing. So attentive hearing. So after you hear, you are supposed to not only remember what you heard, but you are supposed to do mananam, which is, also meditate on what is that you, or recollect what you have heard. Prabhupada writes, there are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from his dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings with the Asuras and others. And in the 10th canto, the sublime dealings with his conjugal associates, the gopis, as well as with his married wives at Dwaraka are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. So the dealing of the Lord with the Asuras is the same as the dealing of the Lord with the gopis. The result is the same. The means by which the result is accomplished may be very different. In one case, for us, it may look like violence. In another case, it's just sheer love. But the result is the same. But sometimes people in an unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about his dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feelings of the hearer. So a bona fide speaker of the dealings of the Lord never indulges in such hearings. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scriptures, and that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. So you can't rank order the Lord's pastimes with his devotees or even with the Asuras. You can't do a rank ordering. Of course, we all understand that the topmost devotees are the gopis. That we understand. We must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances. And hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. So if you hear about the Lord killing Kamsa, it's as purifying as hearing about the Lord with the gopis, or hearing about the Lord's conversations with the Pandavas in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The result is the same. It's purifying. It is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relation with him. Hearing of all these scriptures is essential. So hence, Prabhupada is talking about how important it is for us to hear. But Prabhupada says in one of his lectures on this particular shloka in Mayapur that we are also working so hard. We are so busy. Prabhupada says even a thief is risking his life. He's not working hard. He's trying to find an easy way out. But look at how much risk he's taking by stealing. He's making so many endless plans to steal. But the problem is that nobody knows what is the aim of life. Prabhupada says even devotees are working hard. They're working hard to build a temple. They're working hard to print books. All of this is also working hard. So what is the difference between the devotees working hard and the karmis working hard? Prabhupada says we have a goal. Our goal is to please Krishna. Their goal is to please themselves. And Prabhupada quotes, Nate vidoswartha gatham hi Vishnu. This comes in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the shloka. That Vishnu aradhyate pantha nanyat tattosha karanam. This is actually this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Ramananda Rai is having a conversation with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he says, Varnashamachara vada purushena paraf puman Vishnur aradhyate panta nanyat tattosha karanam. That the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashrama. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the 4 Varnas and Ashramas. That means Prabhupada is saying within the Varna Ashrama, there is adequate means by which all of us can perform devotional services. So Prabhupada also quotes one shloka that all of you would be familiar with. And what is that shloka? Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve badhrani pashyantu, ma kaschit bhag dukkha bhag bhavet. And then Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Prabhupada says that our mission is to make everyone happy. And how do we make everyone happy? Atah Shri Krishna Namadi Naba Ved Grahyam Indirayi Sevon Mukhehi Jihvadav Swayam Eva Spuratyadaha. How does this begin? So it begins with the mouth. Sevon Mukhehi Jihvadav. We have to use our mouth to chant the holy names of the Lord, to describe the Lord's form, His qualities, His pastimes. And in this way, when the conditioned soul is actually awakened to render service by using his tongue to chant the names of the Lord and to taste prasadam, then the tongue is purified. So the most important sense Prabhupada has told us regularly is that we have to purify the tongue. Once we start purifying the tongue, then we can understand who Krishna really is. Hence, Kunti Devi here is saying, we have to continuously hear, chant, and repeat. Repeat. No matter how many times you've heard the pastime, you can keep hearing it again and again. Not only we have to engage in it, when we see others doing it, even then Kunti Devi is saying we should take pleasure that others are chanting the holy names of the Lord and engage in discussions about it. Then certainly all of us will see the lotus feet. And when we take darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord, then it stops our cycle of birth.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.